Hello, everybody, and welcome to our first official podcast episode of Love Within Walls, a Prison Wife podcast. I am your friendly host, Gigi here, and I'm here with my lovely co-host, Miss Paige.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome, everyone, and we thank you for tuning in. Just to give you a little, forewarning, we're total newbies at this. And
You sounded like a pro there
thank
when
you.
you
I
opened.
appreciate that.
You sounded like one of the people that comes over the loudspeaker at
Oh,
the grocery store.
oh, thanks. There's a cleanup on aisle five. Aisle
Okay.
five.
Yep. There we
Anyway.
go. There we go.
But since we're noobs, we have very humble beginnings in the podcast world, so just bear with us, friends. But we wanted to kind of give you guys some um, you know, I guess preliminary information about the prison wife world, the prison world, and introduce ourselves this first episode so you get to know a little bit about us. Um,
Definitely. Maybe even more than, you want to know. But
yeah.
hey,
And we hope that you enjoy our journey as we talk through different topics, different segments throughout the pod. And if you have any feedback, we're totally open to any of that. And we also would love to hear your stories as we continue the episodes if you're interested as well. But
yeah.
to get started, just going over kind of our schedule. Our schedule for the pod is we record on the weekends and they will be released on Spotify and Apple. And later on, we'll have video versions on YouTube. That's our goal.
Yeah, very soon, hopefully.
Yes, we already got our camera stands in. We're ready.
We're ready to
Um,
go.
yeah. And our pods will be released every Wednesday. It is our hump day gift to you.
Yeah, we all need it.
Yes. And so just be on the lookout and we'll be posting and make sure you follow us on our socials. We have our Instagram, a prison wife podcast is our handle. And if you have any feedback or any questions or just want to drop us a line or two, you can reach us at our email, prisonwifepod@gmail.com. All right. Well, let's go ahead and dive in, shall we?
Absolutely.
Oh,
I also just have to preface that my husband hates the word prison wife. So, we're not allowed to refer to ourselves as that because he says he shouldn't be labeled as a prisoner. So why should we be labeled as a prison wife? And I'm like, fair,
true, true. What
fair.
does he have another name for it or
Yeah, he's like wife. And I'm
okay.
like, okay, yep.
Yep. I'm wifey and my husband's my husband. So that's
Love
how it
that so
goes.
much. Oh,
But
adorable.
to get started, obviously talking about prison wives in general, in case some of our listeners are not prison wives, even though we don't really go by that term with our loved ones. It's basically a loved one, what people in Great Britain may call WAGs, wives and girlfriends, like of the football or soccer stars. Even though our husbands are not soccer stars by any means. But just to give you a background, in the country, there are almost 2 million people incarcerated in our nation as of the end of last year.
We're number
Um,
one. We're number one.
America is number one. And 2.6 million children have incarcerated parents. So we're talking not just about a couple thousand people. We're talking about millions of people affected by incarceration. And I believe, Paige, you gave me the statistic that 1 in 3 Americans have some type of impact from incarceration.
Yep.
Um, so clearly we're talking about a big group of people here. And, you don't think of a prison wife as, you think of her, there's a stereotype for it.
Or
Um,
some people like to say that there is, you know what I mean?
Correct. And, you know, if you think about the average inmate, not every inmate gets visits. Unfortunately, it's very sad. A lot of inmates actually don't get visits. But for the ones that do, if you average it out, it's about 3 to 4 people per inmate. So if you take all that into account, you have a lot of people that support inmates, their loved ones, their families, their friends. So there is a large group of people that are very much impacted by incarceration in our country. So just kind of giving you a little background of, you know, incarceration in our country. And obviously there's women and men who support their loved ones. And obviously our focus, since that's what we know, our focus is coming from the spouse, girlfriend perspective. Ooh, okay. Sorry. How am I doing?
No,
Eight.
good. I
Eight.
like don't know when to chime in.
Sorry if I'm talking
No,
too
it's
much.
okay.
6 minutes, 6 minutes. Okay. All right. I'm trying to think of everything that we want to talk about here. Almost 6 to 6:30. Okay.
Maybe we can say what the other things we want to do. Like we want to talk about like different bills and
Okay. Well, all right. You want to go into that?
yeah.
Okay.
Another thing that we want to focus on has to do with different reform that's active, whether it is federal or in different states. Focus on different bills and, you know, bring attention to different causes right now. You know, anything related to criminal justice reform that is a positive outcome for us and, you know, our loved ones. We definitely, it's important to get your voice out and heard because that's how the people who, you know, make the decisions understand that we're serious about this. So, you know, getting more, what's the word I'm thinking of? More,
Just being more active in, you know, the criminal justice community, or
yeah.
being more, what's the word? Dang it. Pink.
Pink
Yeah.
as hell right
Okay.
now. Literally pink as fuck.
Okay. Well, just being more, active and,
Cognizant.
yeah, cognizant and active
Yeah,
in.
being more cognizant about the things going on. You know, odds are, whoever you are listening to this podcast, wherever you are, um, you know, you have a relation to someone who's incarcerated, and you definitely want to do whatever you can to, you know, get them home, but also make that stay while they're in there as great as it can be. And we all know what kind of conditions they deal with in there, which is a whole nother thing that we can even talk about. You know, a lot of things that people have no idea about that happens in prison. You know,
Absolutely.
we hear it firsthand, unfortunately, and it's crazy.
And we're going to share all of those wonderful things with you, the bad, the good, the funny, all of it here on this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going back to just kind of introducing ourselves, talking about the stereotype of the prison wife that you probably hear or probably have seen somewhere. I know when I first got into this life, that the stereotype was a girl who can't get a date, who
Mm-hmm.
has low self-confidence. You know, she can't meet a man out here, so she's looking for someone. Or I've also gotten, oh, it's the bad boy persona that you're after, like, you know, that
I
kind of
get,
thing.
I get, it's I can fix him syndrome, but worse.
That too. Spot on. But we're here to tell you we are not the stereotypical, like the stereotype is, you know, maybe they're, I don't know, because it was born somewhere, but most of the women you encounter are not the stereotypical what people think of as a prison wife. You know, they're people that work in your community. They're people that, you know, file your taxes for you. There are
Yeah.
people, you know, they're just everyday people like me and
It's the
you and
nurses that
I.
take care of you. It's the, you know,
It's the nurse getting your vitals.
yeah.
You know, it's the librarian shelving your book. It's the banker. the teacher, it's the real estate agent. It can be any kind of person.
The only difference is that the person they love is incarcerated.
Correct. Correct. And I want to point out one more thing before we get into our bios. The I know there's going to be a lot of clapback and about us supporting a person that's in prison, but I want to challenge people to have an open mind because nobody is perfect. And inmates, prisoners, incarcerated individuals.
Incarcerated
Yeah.
people.
I like that.
Make sure
Incarcerated.
pink for a minute.
Pink.
Try to people. So at least on Twitter, a lot of people hate the word inmate.
Okay.
I know that it might not like be a thing down there, but like in this atmosphere, if you say inmate, there'll be people that be like, you're not using the right language.
Okay.
And
Good
if we're
idea.
gonna be in this, we have to be like incarcerated.
Incarcerated. Okay.
Anyway, sorry.
I forgot what
I
forgot I was gonna say. All right, sorry. Oh, I got it. These incarcerated individuals that are being supported by millions and millions of people across the country have are bigger than their crime. And I want you to, I know that's hard for a lot of people to wrap their heads around. And I'll be honest, I was one of those people. I had never had any experience with prison, never been to a prison. And this has opened my eyes to a lot of things. So if you're sitting here going, they should just rot, they should just rot. I challenge you to just maybe listen and have an open perspective because the people we're talking about are people, not animals, not cattle being corralled in a pen. They are actually human beings. They are deserving of love, of compassion, of, if you believe in a higher power, grace and mercy.
I would hate to be judged for my worst mistake. You know what I mean? To wear basically a sign on you all
Yeah.
day for the rest of your life that says this is what I did.
Yeah,
It's
a very smart woman told me like how different the world would be if we all wore the worst thing we've ever done on our forehead,
yeah.
just walking around.
Mm-hmm.
So I challenge people that may be like, oh God, these women that they're just stupid in love,
I
I
hope they
challenge,
don't ever end up in a life like this
I agree, but
because it can really happen to anyone.
it can. And there are stories where people don't even realize they're committing a crime and then they get arrested and then what do you do? So if you've never been impacted by incarceration, I just ask you to have an open mind, an open ear, because at the end of the day, we're all human beings, and um, everybody is deserving of love. So just keep that in the back of your head.
Yep.
Um, so I guess we'll dive in to talk a little bit about us
Okay.
as prison wives.
Love that.
Would you like to start, or would you
God.
like me to go
No.
first? Whichever you want.
Wait, a side note, I was gonna say we should also have um one weird fact
About prison?
about us.
Oh, okay, like a fun fact.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, we can do that at
I
the
have
end.
like a not fun fact, but it's whatever.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Hmm?
Okay, so do you want to go first or you want me to
Yeah,
go?
I'll go
All
since
right, go
I
ahead.
feel like yeah. Okay. Well, this is gonna be so weird because I absolutely hate talking about myself in all settings, let alone, you know, in this big microphone, which I keep wanting to hold. Like I'm one of those like people that like sing with that with like a big microphone. And I like know that I'm gonna like ruin the recording if I do that. But like, why do I keep wanting to do that? Do you?
I'm holding the I'm holding the microphone in my hands as we speak.
Okay, that's literally what I'm about to do. Thank you.
Okay. I'm actually holding the stand. I'm holding the stand in my hand so it doesn't wobble.
I love us. Okay. Let's just keep that because that's probably
Okay.
so some of my random rant. So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Paige. I live in Pennsylvania, right outside the capital, which is Harrisburg. No, it is not Pittsburgh or Philadelphia. I turned 30 last year. We're not even going to talk about the fact that I turned 31 soon. I am a Cancer. If anyone is into astrology, hit me the hell up because I can talk about astrology all day. Let me know your birth chart. Let me know your sun, moon, rising. Um, people who are listening are like who have no idea about astrology. They're like, okay. um, I have worked in the healthcare world for 8 years now. I am a manager. I really enjoy my job. I really enjoy my team, the people I work with. Um, Beyond, you know, we'll get into the prison world of my life. The son of my life is my son. I have a little man. His name is Brody. He will be turning 5. God, in like 3 weeks. Don't know how I'm about to have a 5-year-old. Fun fact about him: I had him a week early. He was 10 pounds 7 ounces, and that was a week
Wow.
early. Um, Literally when I had a C-section, a scheduled one, because he was so big. When the doctor pulled him out, she literally said, "Oh, you have a toddler." I'm like, "Thank you." I'm like, "What does that?" Meanwhile, actually, I was like, "What does that mean?" Because I was like freaking out. um, Beyond that, that's kind of me. Should I go on about try to do a fun fact about me?
Yeah, and then I would go into maybe talking about your relation, how you met Joe.
Okay, okay. How I met him.
Well, like how it started, how your prison wife journey
Okay.
started.
Um, Fun fact, not so fun fact about me that I love using as my fun fact anytime I have to give a fun fact. Um, I used to live on the top floor of a funeral home when I was younger.
Interesting.
I like to use that fact or the fact that I have seen probably like 400 dead bodies my entire life. My
Because
dad
you
is a funeral director, so
Okay, so he was the director of the funeral home that you lived on top of.
yes, yes.
Okay.
And when I would after even after we moved out, I would like go with him for things and we would like go do things at his office and there'd just be dead people. And for some reason, my weird little kid, I was just like fascinated. I wasn't scared. I was like, oh,
I've
you
seen
know,
that.
what? Oh no, no, listen, but nowadays I think if I did that, I'd be like, no, no, no.
It's like,
Um,
you know what I'm talking about, the movie?
I totally absolutely do know what you're talking about,
Okay.
but I have not seen the movie. I'm terrible at movies. And every time
Okay.
I tell people that, they feel the need to be like, okay, you're gonna watch this.
Oh no, I'm not gonna force it on you. I was just bringing that up because you said you saw over 400 bodies.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
Pink.
Not being
Um,
too cheesy, sorry.
no, no, no. But you know what I was thinking?
Hmm.
We need to be more interactive with each other when the other one's talking, so it's like a podcast. You know what I mean?
Okay. I just didn't want to over like step. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
don't.
I
You can
think that's
like because even like when you were talking earlier, I probably could have popped in a few times because it's supposed to be, like when you
a
listen to a
band. It's
podcast.
supposed to be back and forth, kind of.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Um, we'll get a hang of it.
Yeah, we'll get the groove.
Okay, let me get into Joe. So just a little shortened version of how I met Joseph. Everyone knows COVID hit us really hard in what 2020 was it?
Yeah. 2020.
Yeah. So fast that whole year was a mess for me. I didn't even think about dating or anything like that. But, you know, 2021 rolled around and, you know, I still was like, I'm not dating anyone. I don't want to do this. I am a single mom of a baby and, the world. Are we ever going to be free again? I don't know. One thing I would always do at night when I was bored was go on one of those like write a prisoner websites.
Hmm.
And um, I did that for a lot of the pandemic. Um, don't know why, never wrote to anyone. I just really liked reading their profiles and just like, you know what I mean? Just like acknowledging them as humans and like, you know,
And can I ask this? Have you had any like prior experience with incarceration or an incarcerated individual before going on these websites?
yeah. So technically, no. I mean, my son's father had been in and out of jail, not prison.
Okay.
I have my associate's degree in criminal justice, so I always had a fascination with that. But after I completed that program and did all of that, I kind of was like, yeah, I don't want to be on this side of things.
Yeah.
um, but no, so I had never had any real interest. On the website, I didn't ever think I would ever even write to anyone. I just I thought maybe if I saw someone that I wanted to like reach out to and just like, be friendly with, that I would do that. And it was that, but I had never done that. Um, now that I'm like thinking of this, I'm like, I don't know if I want to share that.
Okay.
I'm like, what should I share? Let me just say, let me just do it really short. Um, long story short about how literally that was like 3 minutes. I'm so sorry. Um, long story short about how I met Joseph. I was pretty bored one day during COVID. I had been perusing through the different write a prisoner websites. No intention of writing to anyone, just kind of reading profiles. I Joseph did catch my eye because I did think he was super handsome. And then I read his profile and he was very well, um, he could, he was well spoken. He was really well spoken and he, you know, was not looking for a relationship. And he specifically like said that in there. And I really liked that because I specifically wasn't. And I definitely wasn't going to write to someone that was, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
But yeah, I just took a chance. I had to write him a hand letter because he didn't have a tablet or anything. Um, he wrote me back and then I didn't open it for a week and a half.
Wow.
Um, I think I just like knew what was going to happen in the back of my head. That's what he says. And I
Yeah.
think he might be right.
I believe that. I believe
When
that.
you just like know,
Yeah. You have that, like, that's what I had. I had the like, gut reaction.
I literally remember looking at pictures of him and being like, I feel like these are going to upset me one day. Like his like arrest pictures. Like not
Hmm.
that it didn't upset me when I first saw them, but I was like, I feel like I really won't be able to like look at them one day.
Hmm.
And I can't now. So fast forward, that happened. We wrote back and forth, called, and eventually we were able to meet, and the story goes from there.
Yeah. So when was your first visit with Joe?
Our we started dating in February 2021, and we did not have our first in-person visit until December, and that's because of all the COVID lockdowns.
Okay.
So that was a really long time. And our visit was only one day and it was 2 hours long. We weren't allowed to touch, we were allowed to hug at the beginning.
Hmm.
So I flew across the country for one 2 hour visit. And guess what? I would have done it again.
Yeah. And a
It was,
hug.
oh my God. Yeah, it was awesome. And of course we couldn't kiss. I wanted to so bad, but I think he was at High Desert, which I know you're not familiar with the California prisons, but um they were not having anything with the shits if you were not listening on any kind of visiting.
So they discouraged visiting during COVID, is what you were saying.
Absolutely, they definitely
Okay.
did not make it a fun time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So after that, we were able to see each other a little bit more. Even now, though, we pretty much keep it to at least every 3 months, and that's just like beyond financial reasons. That also just like maybe we'll lessen it eventually, but that's just kind of what makes sense for us right now.
Okay. And can you talk, I mean, well, let me say this, Pink.
I didn't even mention, yeah.
Do you want to talk about the marriage part?
I just totally, what I forgot? I didn't even mention Joseph. For anyone who doesn't know, my husband is in California. And as I said before, I am in Pennsylvania. So that is what I mean by I'm not visiting him every weekend. Some people might be like, what? Or you're like there and you don't go see him.
No, I'm like literally flying across the country.
It's a trip. I gotta
Yeah.
book a flight, book a hotel, get a rental car,
Take
figure
off
all that
work.
out.
Yeah, like all the what's the word? All the Oh my God, Pink. What's the word? The logistics. You got to figure out all the
Oh,
logistics
my bank
just
account
to,
hates it.
yeah. Yeah, just to make a trip out there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and that's also helps make it a good time. And I try to make it myself feel like I'm like adulting by doing this whole thing on my own.
Yeah, and you are. I mean, you're doing the dang thing. You know what I'm
Thank
saying? Like
you.
you're and you I've seen some of your pictures as well, and like you go and enjoy the scenes. Like it's not just a prison trip or, going to see my loved one or my spouse. It's also like a little getaway for you as well, because I've seen you and you take some beautiful shots, by the way, of the
Mm,
places that you go. You go visit places while you're in California. So I think that's an
definitely.
amazing opportunity that you have to do that. And
I I love doing that too because it's just I love showing Joe. And I remember early on in our relationship, he told me that he like wanted me to send him those pictures. And I remember kind of in the back of my head being like, well, I don't like I want to, but I don't because I'm like, oh yeah, here's all these places out here that I'm seeing of like that you can't see. And he kind of finally brought me down to understand that's not how he looks at it. He looks at it as, oh my God, I love that I'm seeing this and also loving knowing that you got to see this.
yeah, it's almost like you're
And
including him on your excursions,
that's exactly what he said. Like when I first time I met him, I got to visit his whole family. Like his grandma and grandpa took me around the town that he went to high school and grew up in, and
Aw.
they showed me all of these different spots all around town. Like they took me to like his high school. They took me to like this place where they used to live, like this park, this place where Joe went fishing this time. Like it was so cute. And I took pictures and I showed him, and he was like, this is so cool that you saw this.
So it's kind of like you get to go see the places he was at one point.
That
Yeah.
like we're a part of his life.
Yeah. And that makes you feel closer to them as
It
well.
does. It
Yeah.
really does.
Yeah. And did you want to talk about how you and Joe tied the knot?
Yeah. So, I mean, technically, by legal standards, we did not, but also technically by legal standards, we did. um, we had a wedding actually scheduled and we had papers turned in, we had everything approved. And it was scheduled. And then CDCR decided that he needed to get transferred that week. They were like, no,
Jeez.
we can't hold it now. Um, so, and it didn't matter that we were getting married. They were like, no, he needs to transfer now for this program. And it's funny because whenever he did get transferred, the program was delayed like 3 weeks.
Oh, wow.
It was a good time. But we just had a lot of trouble scheduling a wedding. So basically we were able to work around it a little bit and get a domestic partnership, which legally binds us in one way that, not maybe not financially and not wedding wise, but enough to get us to have family visits and, all that fun stuff.
Okay, which let me just say this, which we're going to talk about on this pod
Oh,
because
yeah.
because I've already told Paige this. Like I am with the other 46 states that don't do family visits, and she knows how I already feel about that. I'm jealous. So we will talk about family visits at some point on this pod. So stay tuned for that.
Definitely. I'll give the whole 411. Well,
So
not all of it, but
well, yeah, yeah. Well, no, I mean, the important stuff, but not all of the
the
TMI.
safe
So
for
yeah,
work
the
stuff.
safe stuff. Yeah. So you have a legal marriage by, is it what we would kind of consider common? No, not common law, but like, what's the phrase that you have for your marriage?
I mean, we call each other husband wife,
No, no, no,
but
I know that, but I mean, like, is there a legal term for the way you got married?
it's I think it's just a domestic partnership
Domestic
certificate.
partnership. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry. Whoop, pink. Sorry, I lost my train of
Okay.
thought there. Okay,
Okay.
go ahead. I'm sorry. Anything else?
Um. Uh.
No.
Maybe.
I'm
Maybe be
laughing.
like. Maybe be like. How long? Because I didn't even say. Maybe be like, how long has Joe, or what age did Joe get arrested? How long's he been in prison?
Oh, okay.
And
That's good. That's good. Smart.
and um uh maybe like an update on what he's up to right now.
Okay.
Maybe ask me those things.
Okay. So, just to give us a little background about your lovely hubby, Joe, how long has he been incarcerated and, um, like what age did he get arrested and things like that?
So he was arrested slightly a month after he turned 21. Um so undeveloped brain check.
Mhm.
Not an excuse for his crime, you know. And that's one thing, you know, we'll probably get into eventually on this podcast. In no way, at least I'll speak on my own behalf when I say things. I'm not making an excuse for his crime. And you'll hear Joe say, um, he'll swear up and down, he doesn't ever not take full responsibility for his crime. But I'll quote him for better. Okay, why am I going into this? Pink, what the fuck was that?
Did you not want to get into his incarceration?
Let me just. How about I start over and I just don't say about the underdeveloped brain and get into all that because I just will.
Okay.
Because I'll touch on that later.
Well, you can say we'll touch on that later.
Okay.
Yeah, and just keep going.
Okay.
Okay. Or I can chime in and say that. I don't mind.
So no, it's okay. I got.
Yeah.
So undeveloped brain, but we can get into all of that fun stuff later. um, what was the second part? Fuck. Dang.
How long was he incarcerated and
Okay.
yeah.
So this year he will be incarcerated for 14 years, which is a large part of his life.
And do you mind sharing his sentence?
Absolutely. Oh, what?
I love you.
Like,
Okay.
hello?
Go ahead.
At the end, can we have like a blooper reel? Like, what the?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Joseph was sentenced to life without parole, and basically, life without parole uh, lives by the name death by incarceration. They are saying you are sentenced to a life in prison, and you do not ever or should not ever get that chance to be free again.
Okay. And are there any possible opportunities for that to change for him?
There's always bills, and there's, you know, we'll definitely have to talk about some of them that are even live right now that are hopeful for us. But, you know, until that time, he is doing a really good job right now, focusing on improving himself and helping improve others along the way, too. He is a mentor for the OMCP program within his prison. And basically, what that is he's a peer mentor and a substance abuse counselor.
Wow.
So he's like a safe space that people can go and talk to. And, you know, he literally counsels people. That's his job. And that's something he would have never done, especially before coming to prison. But, you know, even just like 3 years ago, he's doing a lot to better himself until
Mhm.
the day or opportunity hopefully arises that, you know, he does get that second chance.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I hope that there is something
in the future for him, because it sounds like he's doing really good things while inside.
Honestly, one of the things that we do, I don't know if other couples do this, but um, although he does have a life without parole sentence, one of the fun things that we started doing last year was literally building a bucket list of things that
Yeah.
we want to do for when he gets out. So, you know, I probably sound crazy to some of you, but it's really like a peaceful thing for us. We, every time something comes up that we see that we really like, we literally add that to the list and we're like, oh, we're doing that. Like, oh, we're gonna buy a big RV and drive all around the United States and sightsee all these places, you know what I mean? And we
Mm-hmm.
talk about it. And the more you talk about that stuff, manifestation is real.
Yeah. And that's one of the first things that Mike and I did was make a bucket list. And I think, God, we got up to like 200 different things,
Oh, I
of
love
things
that.
we, yeah, and it's simple things like wake up in the morning, just make pancakes for breakfast, like
Mhm.
just little things that most couples probably take for granted every day,
Yep.
so yeah, the bucket list thing is, if you haven't done it, I recommend it. It's also a great way to engage them, to include them, and what Mike and I would do with the bucket list. I know we're going off on a tangent here, but we would send the bucket list back and forth through mail, through letters, and he would add 5 or 6, and then I would add 5 or 6.
I love that.
Yeah, until we got to about 200, and I said, "Okay, well, I'm out of paper." Like, and I just said, "I think this is a good start, and we can always add stuff later if we need to, but we got a good running start."
Yeah,
So that
got lots to
if
do.
you need an idea of things to do with your loved one, that's an incredible idea to, go back and forth. If you can do that, I mean, whatever your facility allows. Like now, we wouldn't be able to do that because the facility doesn't allow for them to get handwritten letters anymore. It's everything's photocopied. So we
Which
don't
is
even,
so ridiculous, but don't get me started.
yeah. But we have to kind of, the thing you learn about being a prison wife, you have to let go of the things you have no control over. And let me tell
Yes,
you,
ma'am. Thank
prison
you,
wife
ma'am.
life is 98.9% out of your control. Everything.
Yep.
And
And
you
the sooner you understand and accept some of that, the less anxiety you'll have.
Girl, I've been doing this for a hot minute, and sometimes it's still hard.
Oh,
Still
yeah.
hard to accept the fact that there's so many things that are out of my control, and all you can do is worry about what's in your control. Whew, yeah, that was a hard pill for me to swallow for a long time, and it still is at times.
Definitely.
But yeah, I recommend, if you can get to the bucket list idea, I think that's a great idea. And listen, we're going to be posting some stuff, like love letter ideas, things on our Instagram. So just be on the lookout for that. If you ever need things to engage your loved one, maybe you want to do something special for a certain occasion, things like that. We hope to be able to post that on our socials. So please make sure you follow us on our Instagram.
I got a lot of ideas that I can share with you guys. I've done a lot of things, some obnoxious, some really cute.
Mm-hmm. Me too. Me too. So we definitely have a lot coming y'all's way.
Love that
So
for us.
are we ready for Gigi here?
I'm ready.
All right. Hi guys. My name's Gigi, and I have been doing the prison wife rigmarole for, this is going into my 8th year. Um since I
Queen.
since I met Michael. And we met in the weirdest way. Like I said before, I had no experience with prisoners. I had no clue what prison life was about. However, I guess I'll give you the condensed short version. Um, in a nutshell, one summer, the summer of 2016, I should say, the summer of 2016, I watched a few documentaries and docu-series about death row inmates. If you need the list, quickly, that's Life in Death Row on National Geographic, and Into the Abyss on Netflix. It's a Werner Herzog documentary. And I
Okay.
was just,
Literally, I need to watch both, but
yeah, and it's pretty powerful and pretty moving, and sad. very sad. But I've always been, and not to mention when I was in high school, is when Dead Man Walking came out. That movie changed my entire perspective on the death penalty. And I really just thought to myself, if that was me, oh my God, I don't know what I would do. So having watched, Dead Man Walking and these other docuseries and documentaries, I said, well, maybe, maybe it would be good if I were me, maybe it would be nice to have somebody reach out to me, because watching some of the things that people were saying about these people, I mean, it was very hateful and very like, I can't wait to watch this person die,
Oh my God, literally. I get so triggered by that
yeah,
on like Twitter. I can't. Like,
yeah.
how can you be so evil?
Well, and the justification is, well, they did something wrong, so they should pay,
No
but
one is God.
yeah, just from the human perspective, though, I kind of said, well, that were me, it would be nice to have somebody reach out to me. So
Mm.
I made a decision to write a death row inmate. And it actually was a death row inmate in Texas that was on one of the shows. And
This is taking a turn.
wait, what? Paige, did you go? Paige? I lost you. Are you okay?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Oh my God, I tapped the thing and it mutes it.
Oh, wow.
Did you
Okay.
know that?
No, I did not.
Tap
Learn
the
something
light
new
in the
every
front.
day. The light in front. Hello? Oh, you can't hear me, can you?
No, it mutes when it's red.
Oh, I don't.
That's
Mine's
so
mine's
cool.
mine's glowing. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Um, so I decided that I would write this guy that was on the show in Texas, and then I kind of just stopped and I said, this dude's on TV. He probably has a lot of people writing to him at this point, and in Texas, I mean, Texas is almost like they execute people in a couple of years. That's the running. Their appeals process is
This
very.
is a new story for me. Like, I don't think
Oh,
I like this. I didn't know this was going this way.
sorry. Am I
No, I
going?
love it.
Okay.
I
All
love
right.
it.
So anyway, I'm probably not doing the condensed version as I talk about this. Anyway, so I decided, well, let me look closer to home. And I live in New Orleans. I was born and raised in New Orleans. I've lived here pretty much my whole life. So I decided to look in Louisiana. Well, every Louisiana citizen knows that the one place you don't want to ever go is Louisiana State Penitentiary, aka Angola. It's been deemed in the past the worst of the worst. It's been deemed the bloodiest prison in America. But I said, let me look at home. So I looked, and of course, death row inmates are all housed at Angola. So I came across on prisonpenpals.com. I came across Michael's profile, and Michael just struck me as somebody that was deep, different, caring, interesting, funny. And his picture obviously was, it got me. I'm not gonna lie. His picture, he was an attractive man. But it was more the words for me that got me.
Our
And
stories are
so
so alike. I cannot.
I'm glad you're hearing this because I didn't know our stories were that similar until you started talking, and I didn't want to say anything.
Like,
So
like it's literally the same.
yeah. Mm, sorry. So I decided something, and when we were talking about gut feelings earlier, something in
Mhm.
my gut when I got to his profile and
I
after I
know it.
read it
Yep.
said, stop here, look no further. This is the guy you're going to write to.
Yep.
I
It's like
shit
your
you
brain
not.
knows.
Yeah. And listen, I did not jump. I did not jump on writing him. It took me about a month to actually gain the courage
I
to
get
write him.
it.
And I even thought, I mean, when you've never been in the prison system or have any, experience in the prison system, you're like, what if he gets my address? He's what? he could send somebody to kill me. Like you start thinking about
Yes.
all these
Or
things,
like if
you know?
literally I'm not even gonna lie, and I told Joe this before. One time I remember after I wrote to him, I was like, well, what if I write to him a few times and I don't want to write to him anymore? Then he gets mad and he has my address and like
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. And I even did research on like blogs, like get a PO box at the
Yes,
mail.
I
And
saw that too.
I did that. I did that at one point. And that's
Oh.
not because of, we'll get into that later. Not because of Michael, because of my parents. That's
Yeah,
why.
yeah,
But
yeah.
we'll get into that another day. But anyway, um, so I was very terrified to actually write him. And it took me about, like I said, about a month to put pen to paper. So once I did, I remember the date, August 4th, 2016. I wrote him a letter. It was about a page and a half, but it just kind of just introducing myself. And I was probably shaking as I was sealing the envelope to be sent. And then lo and behold, 4 days later, he sent me a letter. Um, and you know, we became friends. I wasn't looking for a relationship. In
Mm-hmm.
fact, bearing my soul here. In fact, I was already married at the time. I had been
Ooh,
with
ooh.
my, yeah, sorry. Is this like mind boggling? Okay. I had
No, I
been
love
married.
it.
Yeah.
I'm
I had been
loving it.
married to my high school sweetheart. We'd been together all total 17 years. And I was married to him for 9. And he saw the letter I got and he was like, oh, but keep in mind, when I wrote to Michael, I asked my ex-husband at the time, can I write to an inmate? You know, can I write? It's just a friendly letter, just to reach out to somebody. He's like, yeah, I know what kind of person you are. Like, you know, so he knew that I was doing this. This wasn't like a side thing or anything like that. He was very well aware. And when he saw the letter, he was like, you know, oh, I didn't think you'd get a letter back. I was like, me neither. Because, you know, in those blogs, they tell you they may not write you back. And I told Michael this. I said, I was expecting the letter to be written in crayon with the R's reversed. Like I was not expecting what I got in the mail that day. Michael's letters he's got an impeccable handwriting,
Mm-hmm. So does
beautiful
Joe.
handwriting. And the words he used were incredible. I mean, knowing that what
Yes.
I saw on his profile, obviously his vocabulary caught me. And I am, just to give you guys a background, sorry, I just dived into my relationship. I'm not even talking about myself. I'm just going to say this. I'm an educator. I've been an educator since 2010. Like this month makes 14 years of education for me. And so I teach reading and writing. So when I got his letter, I was blown away. I was blown away by his word choice, his vocabulary, his almost like calligraphy style writing. It was just
Every
beautiful.
time Joe wrote a word that I didn't know and I had to
Mhm,
Google it, I like
mhm,
made a little tally in my mind. I'm like, oh, I love this.
mhm.
Oh,
And I was gonna say he used vocabulary I'd never heard of before. And so it just blew me away. And I'm trying to think of where I was going with this, but he just blew my mind because I was thinking, you know, I was being stereotypical of an inmate. So when I got his letter, or, you know, not even expecting him to write back. And then 2 days later after that, I got another letter from him. So he wrote me 2 letters um, from my one letter.
oh,
Um,
he's hooked.
yeah. And you know how you mentioned before, like I kind of knew what I was like, you kind of had that
Yes.
feeling I was getting into something.
Yep.
I had that same feeling when I saw his picture
Mm-hmm.
that this
It's
is
like you,
some,
your mind knows,
yeah,
and Joe's like, yeah, because we know each other in a past life. I'm like, okay,
yeah, that's exactly what Michael says.
I hear it.
And I believe it. I believe it because I think with all the circumstances that happened with my divorce, um, Michael was my savior, was my angel, not only him and my dogs. They were
Mhm.
my angels that got me through my divorce because I'd been with my ex-husband for 17 years. I mean, it was all I knew. It's what I grew up with, you know?
Wow.
So yeah, so he was a big part of we became fast friends. Michael knew I was married. I was very upfront about that in my letter. So there was no intention to form anything romantic at all. However, at the end of August, my ex-husband said, I don't want to be married anymore, and walked out. And so that opened, I guess, a door for me and Michael, because we hit it off. Like, we had a very good, we were interested in a lot of the same things, just the chemistry was there. Even if we weren't intentionally going in that direction, the chemistry was there. So we started writing back and forth letters. And by October, we had our first phone call. And then later on, obviously, the emails came with tablets and things like that. But he changed my life. He's made me a better person. And that's the start of our relationship. We've been together ever since. Ever since our first letter, ever since he asked me to be his girlfriend. And our first visit was not until, so we started writing in August of 2016. Our first visit was November 25th. So a few months later. What shook me was the I love yous. I don't know if this happened with you. A lot of prison relationships, the I love yous come very fast.
Yes.
I was not ready for the I love you. That happened in October.
You're
Mid
stealing.
I'm stealing your sunshine.
We have the
Sorry.
same story.
Oh, wow. I love that we're actually just finding out about this on the pod too.
I know, like together as
Yeah.
with everyone else.
Yeah. So this is how he said I love you to me. He said, I know you don't want to hear this, because I was obviously going through a divorce, separation and divorce at that time. I know you don't want to hear this. I know you're not going to believe me when I say this, and you don't have to say anything. And he said, I love you. And my response was, thank you. So, and then, it sank, it blew me away at first, and then it sank in that night after we got off the phone. And I said, I love him. I don't want to say it. I don't want to admit it to myself.
If you tell me right now that you said it the next day that we're done.
Bitch, I said it the next day.
Bitch, me too.
I said, I know I may not be in the right place to say this, but I feel it. And I said, I want to tell you I love you too.
I have no original life
Dude, we're twinning
experiences.
right now. We're twinning and winning at life right now. I'm just saying.
This is too much. I literally can't wait to tell Joe that.
Oh, that's so crazy. It's giving me chills right now that we both kind of have a very similar story.
Oh, okay, let me shut the fuck up. And also, you need to
And
talk
hey,
about yourself.
oh, no. Anyway, I was going to say, I bet we're not the only two, though. Like, there's a whole community out here that might even have
If you
something
have
similar.
a similar story, please tell us, and maybe we need to make a club or something.
Email us or hit us up on the Insta, because
I said I love you the next day club.
Yeah. I'm not ready, but I'm going to say it because I feel it with every fiber of my being. So yeah, ever since then we've been on, and it's a trip, it's a ride, it's been up and down. I won't say that this life is it's a roller coaster.
You want to share maybe
what you mean?
How long he's been in
Oh, yeah.
his sentence?
So he was convicted and found, well, shit, pink. Michael has been incarcerated for 25 years, and he was just turned 20 at the time of his crime. And he's been on death row ever since then in 1990. Well, I guess around 2000. He was so yeah, and we're in a very delicate state right now, with all of the execution methods that are being brought up. It sounds like they're going backwards, but that's for another show. I just wanted to tell you guys that it's not an easy journey. I don't wish it upon any person, but I think also it's important to know that when I know that being a divorcee, I know that I told myself once I got divorced that I wasn't going to settle. And I wasn't
Hmm.
just going to settle with somebody just to settle and not be happy. And I will say this, at the end of the day, even though 98.9% of all this is out of my control, um, he makes me happy. And if you've ever seen my visit pictures, you tell. And even when I had a conversation with my mom about it, I said, "Mom, like, and my parents are not supportive at all, and we'll get into that later. But I told my mom, when I'm with him, I'm happy. When I
Hmm.
talk to him, I'm happy. And no, I mean, my mom was like, well, what, you're not gonna, you're not with him. I said, well, I'm with him. I'm not physically with him all the time, but I'm with him. And, you know, so far there's not been anybody or I really don't want anybody that's not as good as him to me. That's me.
Yep. I've I have people online that are more upset at my relationship with Joe than they were upset when I was with my son's father, who was like, an abusive and not a good
Yeah.
person. And it's weird to like, go from a relationship like that where you're not treated right to where you're treated better than you ever have been. And just because he is incarcerated,
Mhm.
you have to deal with all of that. Like, I honestly, like, imagine, it's so hard for people that aren't in the situation to fully understand, because it's like you come prepackaged with this label
Mhm.
on you, and
Yeah.
people automatically think different. And that's kind of a reason why, it's not like I am very secretive about it with my life, but I'm not, walking around with a shirt that says my husband's in prison.
Yeah. Yeah. And with my job, obviously I don't put it out there at all. This is actually my biggest leap.
Yep,
I've
we're
been
twins again with that, that.
Yeah, I've been very much in the prison wife closet, if you want to call it that. Um,
Also a
and
resident.
I'll be honest, a lot of my family doesn't know. My
Hmm.
brothers don't know. Um,
Yep.
and my parents only know because they found out. It wasn't because I opened up to them. I've only opened up to one person about my relationship. Um, and that's my best friend. My other friends kind of found out and I had to kind of reveal to them and they were like distraught that I didn't tell them. I was like, uh, you know, you're pretty conservative. A lot of the people around me are very conservative. I live
Yep.
in Louisiana, which is a very conservative state. My family is very conservative. So when they find out and they that I didn't tell them, it's like, oh wow, why didn't you tell me? I'm hurt that you didn't tell me. I said, well,
Yes, like, I don't owe you anything. Like,
yeah,
no offense.
I
Like,
was so afraid of the judgment. And
exactly. Yep.
so, yeah, so that's where I guess I am with Michael. Obviously, this is a big leap for me to come out and put my face out there. I've done little projects here and
We're
there
doing it
and
together.
yeah, and I've done little projects here and there where my identity is completely hidden. Um, but here I am and here I am with Michael 8 years later and we're still doing this. And I mean, it's just been a very crazy ride, but at the same time, a beautiful ride because he's been an amazing person for me, to me. Kind of going back to what you said about previous relationships. My past relationships have been very abusive, physically, emotionally,
Yep.
verbally. And I don't have that at all. Like this is my actually, I hate saying this, but it's true. This is actually my first healthy relationship.
Yep.
So, and the judgment I get just for him being in prison is crazy because the people I was with before should have been arrested and
Yeah.
they still never were.
Retweet.
So it makes you think, just because they look good on paper doesn't mean they're good people. So
Some of the best people you will ever meet are incarcerated, and that's a hill I will die on.
yeah, and I'll say this: like, you think when I first walked into Angola, my first visit, I was terrified. I was shaking. I forgot everything. Like, I was a mess, because I was going into a maximum security prison, and um, I met some of the nicest people, ever there. Um, the most, it's incredible how beautiful some of these people are because of their heart and their soul. And, a lot of them, especially in Angola, it's a big, a lot of religious studies and things like that there. And so people have turned their lives over to, whatever their religion is, whatever their belief system is, whether it be Buddhism, Islam, or Christianity or Judaism. A lot of them have turned their lives over to their higher power or God. Um, and they just transform their entire life, and they're doing wonderful things. And kind of like what Joe's doing with the mentor program. A lot of them are mentors, a lot of them are, um, you know, um, rehab, there's a big hospice, in Louisiana and Angola. There's a lot of people that work hospice at the prison. So they are doing incredible things, and it's changed their whole outlook. And I don't know the statistics, so I
I,
can't speak. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I got to give a shout out. Since we're talking about Angola,
Mhm.
shout out to Bill Kissinger,
Oh
one of
yeah.
one of my favorite people that I have met so far. I know that you're going to be listening, and I just kept hearing Angola, and I was like, I got to give my buddy Bill a shout out. Also, Incarceration Nation. Sorry, please continue.
Okay. Yeah, we listen. I'm just gonna give our listeners a heads up. We love giving shout outs. So, you know, we love giving props where props are due. And so we're gonna be giving a lot of shout outs.
Give them their flowers.
Yeah, just deal with it, y'all. Just roll with us. So, so yeah, I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of good people in prison, and a lot of people in Louisiana are the majority of the population in Angola are lifers. So they're coming in very young, and they're staying into and working and ending up in hospice at some point. So
And that's because our prisons are turning into nursing homes, and that's
correct.
why we need reform.
Correct. Correct. And hey, don't you want to give a shout out to the prison reformers, the prison reform community? Let's give a shout out. Shout out. Anyway, there's one more shout out we need to give, Paige.
Oh, yes, we wanted to give one more shout out, just to specifically the show Prison Brides, which is on Lifetime on Wednesdays. They were so gracious and sweet and shared a link to our podcast, or like a screenshot of it on their page, and that was so nice of them. And we just wanted to return the favor and make sure you listen in. There's some amazing ladies on there, and personally love and know a few of them. They're great women and have some great stories that will also kind of shed some light into this world for you guys.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Shout out, shout out. And I also want to talk quickly about the underground world, because as a prison wife, you feel like you're alone. You feel
Yes.
like you don't know where to turn. So how I guess the big thing is I want to talk about the underground community of prison wives, because I never knew this existed until I became a prison girlfriend, that there are groups of women all over Facebook that have formed communities. Um,
Can we talk about the bad ones too? Can we
oh,
talk
God.
about is this your inmate?
Oh, the pen pal scammer
Like,
page.
talk about all of them.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh goodness, I've had my day on those. Anyway, but
if you're ever
basically,
bored,
yeah, yeah. But it's a whole other world. It's like a whole new world. I can't sing, but it definitely was a whole new world for me. I found some amazing groups, nonprofit groups, just girls getting together, Facebook groups. And I will say this, like, there's a lot out there. So if you're feeling like you need support, please, we have our group page, right?
We do. We do.
And
And
we formed a
actually
group. Go
named Love
ahead.
Within Walls.
Love Within Walls on Facebook. Find us. That is our support group. We meet once a month and do a kind of
Video calls. We're gonna do
video. We do
games, fun
Zooms,
things.
games. We even have a summer camp planned.
Oh, we do.
So there's a lot of things happening in our
Lifer
group.
Wives. And if
Yeah,
anyone
Lifer
is a
Wife
lifer
Week.
wife, we have a lifer wife week. So it's where, just a whole week to, honor lifer wifers.
Yeah. And um, so there's and then there's even
That's
group
not all.
subgroup. I feel like Billy Mays.
I love
That's not
that. I
all,
love
y'all.
him.
So there's even subgroups, like there's even I hate saying this specific, but it's not specific. It's specific groups. Like even if you're international, there's international groups. If you're a lifer, there's lifer groups. If you're just in a state or just in a certain, hey, just so y'all know, there is a Real Housewives of Angola group just for wives and girlfriends of
What?
yes, yes, I am part of the Real Housewives
Okay.
of Angola.
To be a fly on that wall.
So, but basically it's just groups to support, and that's where you meet a lot of people, and that's where you get to
Mhm.
meet other women and men that are in
Yep.
this life as well. And I had no clue that this existed
Mhm.
until I had gone on Pinterest and found some little, memes and jokes and where they came from. And then I found the first group I ever found, which is an incredible group, is Strong Prison Wives and Families. If you're not a member, please go join or go look up their page. It's an incredible nonprofit organization that got me started into this life and helped me incredibly on my journey here as a prison wife. So, and speaking of, I'm not really a prison. I'm gonna be honest. Michael and I have had a commit. I'm kind of going off here, sidebar a little bit. Speaking of that, I'm not officially married to Michael. I just worry legally for a lot of things, putting myself with someone on death row with my job.
I
Um,
understand.
So we did have a commitment ceremony back in 2019. We got engaged in 2018. We had a commitment ceremony in 2019, where we had our own vows. We had cake. We did the whole thing, but we're just not on paper legally married. But I do call him my husband. He's my
Yeah.
husband.
That's your
So
husband,
mm,
regardless.
yeah. So at this point, even if we don't have common law in Louisiana, I'm a common law wife at this point. So yeah. And so anyway, I was going back to the groups. I just found all these groups, and now I'm a member of like 100 of them. I mean, there's so many. Um, so I encourage maybe some prison wives or prison girlfriends that are new on this journey, just to know that they're not alone. And
There's also some communities on Twitter that are you have to look pretty hard to find them
yeah.
because they are hidden
Mhm.
behind a lot of trolls and very unhappy people. But the people that I have met on Twitter that are, in the criminal justice reform community are some of the best people that I've met and the most caring and the most, you know, they've known about me and Joe since I first went to visit him. I remember tweeting on there and being like, "Oh my gosh, I'm going in." And I remember people tweeting me and being like, "Oh, I'm so excited." And like now they look at us and we're like, "This is crazy how, you guys were on this journey with me." And like it's a connection with people who understand what you're going through
Mhm.
because like let's face it, like even our friends who aren't in it, they can listen and they can support you, but they don't really know how that feels.
Yeah, what it's like. Yeah,
Yep.
all the things you experience on this prison wife journey.
Prison wife life.
Prison wife life. Well,
Say that 3 times.
prison wife life, prison wife life, prison wife life. Got it. Blah,
I
blah, blah,
did.
blah. But well, you guys, I think that's been a really great first episode. And I want you guys to know that you're not alone. We're here with you. If you need us or need to reach out to us, or you have questions, or you have ideas, or anything you want to share with us, please reach out to us at um, a, a Prison Wife podcast on Instagram and prisonwifepod@gmail.com. And before we go, we like to end our pod with a meme, a prison wife meme of the week, which we will be posting on our Instagram page on Wednesday as we drop this pod. And so I found an incredible meme that I love using every time they ask for a meme stop at one of those prison wife pages or group pages. This is my favorite one that I found back in 2016 when I first started this journey, and I thought I'd share it with you. We'll get into more of this topic as we go through the pod and we go down episodes, but obviously we're talking about sexy time with this meme. And if you don't know what that means date night, whatever you want to call it, where you and your loved one have sexy time.
The honky tonk.
Yeah, you know. And so this meme is a picture of Miss Piggy. So close your eyes, picture it with me. Miss Piggy
me.
on a phone. And when I'm talking about a phone, I'm talking about like the 1980s corded phones. Okay. And she is looking at the camera, and on the meme, it says, "I didn't call to talk to you. Put your dick on the phone." Best meme I've ever seen for a prison wife, just saying. So I sent that to Michael on JPay, Snap and Sends, and he cracked up when he saw that. So I had to share that with you, and that will be posted on our Instagram page as you're listening to this. So
You think that's too vulgar for the beginning?
should I do that instead? Just say put your D on the phone.
Yeah.
Okay, I can do that. All right, let me.
Well, you can bleep it out even.
Okay. All right, let me just do this part then. Let me record this. All right, and the meme said, I'm sorry, over. And the meme said, "I'm not here to talk to you. Put your D on the phone." So yeah, every prison wife knows what that feels like. So that ends our first official pod. And
Thanks for listening, guys. We have so much fun stuff planned ahead.
know.
And some, serious topics, some funny topics, some stuff we want you guys to interact with. So like,
Hit us up.
tuned.
We're here. We're here, and we're doing the dang thing. So we're here for you, and we're here to bring you lots of good content. And we look forward to our next podcast.
Happy hump day.
Happy hump day, guys.
Bye, friends. Thank you.
Peace, love, and
Bye.
elbow grease. Bye, guys.